It was a quiet autumn morning, with a gentle chill in the air as leaves painted in warm shades of amber and russet drifted down from the trees, swirling softly across the garden path. Miss Evelyn, a dignified, elderly woman who had lived on the edge of town for as long as anyone could remember, took great comfort in her daily routine. Life was steady, predictable, and filled with small joys. A steaming cup of tea in the morning, the soft chirping of birds, and the gentle rustling of leaves. Her most cherished companion on these peaceful days was her loyal dog, Max. A sturdy, faithful creature with a soft gaze, Max had been brought into Evelyn's life by her late husband, who wanted her to have a friend to keep her company. Since then, Max had been her protector and closest friend, his loyalty unwavering, filling her quiet days with warmth. But today, something felt different. The usual calm of their morning walk was replaced by a tension that seemed to linger in the air. As they wandered through the garden, Max suddenly halted, his body stiffening as his ears perked up and his posture became alert. Evelyn followed his intense gaze, which was fixed on a corner of the garden, where shadows stretched long and dark under the morning light. In that secluded part of the garden lay an old, weathered coffin, partially hidden under layers of ivy and brambles. It had been there for as long as Evelyn could remember, a relic from some forgotten past, blending into the garden as naturally as the trees and flowers. But today, it stood out with an eerie clarity she couldn't ignore. Max began barking, his voice loud and desperate, shattering the morning calm. His usual bark was a deep, comforting sound, but today it was filled with urgency, almost as if he was warning her. Evelyn's heart pounded as she tried to calm him. "Hush now, Max," she murmured, though her words felt hollow, lost in the chill of the air. The morning sun rose higher, casting long shadows across the garden and illuminating the coffin in stark, unforgiving light. Evelyn felt a chill settle over her, and she could not shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Max's barking was not just a reaction to a strange sight. He was agitated, fearful, almost pleading with her to understand. At that moment, Evelyn noticed her neighbor, Mr. Thompson, walking along the garden's edge. An elderly man with a gentle presence, Mr. Thompson approached her with concern in his eyes. "Is everything all right, Evelyn?" he asked softly, noticing her pale face and the dog's unusual behavior. Evelyn forced a smile. I'm not sure, Mr. Thompson. It's Max. He's never acted like this before. I think something might be wrong with that old coffin over there." Mr. Thompson looked at the coffin, his expression shadowed by unease. "Strange," he muttered. "That coffin's been there for years, hasn't it? Never thought much of it myself." "Yes, it's always been there," Evelyn replied, her voice barely a whisper. "I never really paid attention to it, but Max, he's acting as though there's something inside." A shiver ran through her as she spoke, a thought creeping into her mind that she couldn't shake. Could there be something inside? Max's desperate barking seemed to suggest as much. "Perhaps we should take a closer look," Mr. Thompson suggested gently. Together, they approached the coffin, moving cautiously, Max's barking filling the air with an echo of alarm. As they neared the coffin, Evelyn felt a strange sadness, as if the old wood held a memory, a story buried long ago. With a deep breath, Mr. Thompson leaned down to touch the coffin's lid. He hesitated, his fingers hovering just above the wood, as if he were afraid to touch it. "Do you feel that, Evelyn?" he asked in a whisper. "It's almost as if it's alive, like there's something moving inside." Evelyn's stomach dropped, and Max's barking softened into a low growl, his body tense, his gaze fixed on the coffin with an intensity that made her skin crawl. Something was drawing them to this old, forgotten relic, something that whispered of secrets long buried. With a nod, Evelyn signaled her readiness, and together, they would face whatever lay within. Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling of unease as Max's barking grew louder. Normally, a gentle reprimand would quiet him, but today Max refused to obey, circling the coffin with a mixture of fear and urgency Evelyn had never seen. As she tried to calm him, Mr. Thompson approached the coffin's lid, his fingers brushing over its worn wood. "Do you see the carvings?" he asked softly, his eyes widening. Faint, faded words were etched into the wood. "Do not forget." Evelyn shivered as she read the words. There was a finality in them, a warning from the past urging anyone who saw it to heed its message. Mr. Thompson cleared his throat. "Whoever put this here wanted it to be left alone. I think these words were meant to keep us away." Evelyn nodded slowly, feeling torn between curiosity and an overwhelming urge to step back. She looked down at Max, who whined softly, his eyes pleading with her to leave the coffin alone. But something about the mystery held her captive. Mr. Thompson sighed, his face set with determination. "Perhaps we should at least see what's inside. It could be nothing, or it could be a story that deserves to be known." Evelyn hesitated but nodded. With Max watching intently, she and Mr. Thompson took a steadying breath and lifted the lid. A musty scent filled the air, one that had been trapped within the coffin for years. Inside lay an unexpected sight. Bundles wrapped in tattered cloth, each tied carefully as if it held something precious. "What on earth?" Mr. Thompson muttered, reaching to touch the first bundle. But as his fingers brushed it, Max's growl intensified, his body tense as though he sensed danger. Ignoring Max's warning, Mr. Thompson unwrapped the bundle. Inside was a tarnished, rusted locket engraved with initials neither of them recognized. "This has been here for ages," he whispered. "But why hide it?" Each bundle held a new piece of an unsettling puzzle, a worn photograph of a young woman, a child's toy, a brittle love letter, and dried flowers. "These are memories," Evelyn murmured. "But whose are they? And why would they be buried here?" Max began whining again, scratching at Evelyn's leg as if pleading with her to stop. She looked down at him, her heart aching at his distress, but she felt compelled to understand. Just as they uncovered the final bundle, a rustling noise caught their attention. Both froze, glancing at the shadows, feeling the weight of the unknown close in around them. Evelyn and Mr. Thompson looked around, hearts pounding as a cold breeze rustled the leaves, and Max's barking grew frenzied again. It was as if the garden itself was alive, whispering warnings to stay away from the past they'd uncovered. In silence, they exchanged glances, sharing the understanding that something about the garden had changed. The once tranquil space was now a place where shadows moved, and a strange rhythmic tapping echoed faintly from the trees. Max whined and took a protective stance beside Evelyn, his body tense and ready. "Maybe we disturbed something that was meant to stay hidden," Mr. Thompson whispered, his face lined with worry. Evelyn nodded, fear settling in her bones. Holding her breath, she brushed her fingers over the locket one last time, feeling a strange sense of sadness and longing. But peace eluded her, as if the items still held unresolved emotions. With heavy hearts, they decided to leave the garden, feeling they'd become part of a story that would haunt them. A tale of love and sorrow hidden in silence for years. "I'm glad you're satisfied with the script so far. Now that we've completed the narrative blocks according to your instructions, here's the conclusion, which ties the story together and provides a reflective ending for Evelyn and the mystery she uncovered." As Evelyn and Mr. Thompson left the coffin behind, a sense of unease lingered, following them like a shadow. Even in the warmth of her home, Evelyn could still feel the weight of the forgotten memories they had uncovered. She sat by her window, gazing out at the garden, where the old coffin lay hidden, now carrying a history she could never fully understand. The following morning, Evelyn felt compelled to know more about the story of the items in the coffin. She reached out to a local historian who specialized in the area's old family tales and artifacts. After describing the contents of the coffin, the historian listened quietly, then promised to investigate. Days later, Evelyn received a call. "Evelyn," the historian's voice was somber. "The items you described belonged to a family who faced tremendous loss nearly a century ago. They buried these memories as a way to let go of the grief and hardship. It was a ritual, a way to heal." Hearing this, Evelyn understood that her discovery wasn't a curse, but a chance to honor these long-forgotten lives. She gently placed the mementos in a small glass case, a quiet tribute to the family's sorrow and strength. Her heart lightened, realizing she had fulfilled a duty of remembrance, preserving these memories with care. Max, sensing the calm, returned to his playful self, his protective instincts fading as the shadows in the garden finally felt at peace. Evelyn's home, once overshadowed by lingering unease, grew brighter with each passing day. Her garden became a place not of fear, but of remembrance, a testament to the enduring nature of memory and the resilience of the human spirit. With the mystery now understood, Evelyn felt a profound sense of peace. The unease that had filled her garden was replaced by a quiet reverence. Every day she would pass by the small glass case holding the mementos, each item a gentle reminder of the family's story, a tale of love, loss, and healing. Max, her loyal companion, no longer barked at the garden. He seemed content, his previous agitation replaced with calm, as if he too sensed the peace that had settled over their home. Evelyn found comfort in her daily routines once again, yet now every walk with Max felt more meaningful, as if they were sharing the garden with lives that had once been lived and were now remembered. One evening, as the sun set over her garden, casting golden light on the leaves, Evelyn felt a quiet satisfaction. She had given voice to forgotten memories, honoring them in a way they hadn't been before. Turning to Max, she patted his head with a smile, grateful for the journey they had taken together. In time, the garden became not only a sanctuary for her, but a place where the past and present coexisted peacefully. And though Evelyn knew some mysteries were better left in the shadows, she felt grateful for the chance to bring a little light into this one. If you enjoyed this mysterious and emotional story, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with friends who love intriguing tales. And to make sure you never miss a new story, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.